Palme d'Or, I think, is an award that is embracing the entirety of the creative experience. So it's awarding, it's when a film is utterly cohesive and undeniably so. So that the camera work, the costuming, the performances, the way it's lit, the way it's edited, the way it's directed, the score, when all of those elements come together. I think the difficult and painful thing for us as a jury is that then if you wanted to single out a performance, or you wanted to single out the direction, or you wanted to single out the screenplay, is you cannot. And so I think that's when, I think a lot of the public and perhaps even some of the press are not aware of that and how difficult that is as artists who, you know, who know how films are put together. But I think ultimately it's when the Palme d'Or is when something is utterly complete.
I think that the Palme d'Or recounts its day, or rather its year, the year in which it's awarded. But the year, that means that ideally the film talks about universal problems that concern absolutely everybody in a form that is absolutely perfect. Ideally, a Palme d'Or is a masterpiece that has all of the qualities, and there aren't very many masterpieces around. So I dream of seeing a masterpiece. But only time will tell, because we, people here, as human beings, we can make mistakes. It's an extremely perilous task, selecting a film that will have a long life ahead of it. It's a huge responsibility, and it's going to demand a lot of intuition. I'm not very dogmatic as a person. I'm very open-minded. I hope that this Palme d'Or is going to amaze me and destabilize me. And I hope I'm going to be surprised. And so I'm completely open-minded.
It's hard to differentiate between sort of your heart and your brain. And I think when you don't have to, when you watch a film that really engages you in a way where the thought process that it evokes gets into your guts and into your heart and sort of makes you feel like you can't stop thinking about it, and it has a weight that you can tell really outweighs the festival, outweighs everything, that the movie will stand forever and that it sort of needed to be made.
In fact, you can say that the Palme d'Or has been given to the right film because everyone agrees. But when we actually hand out that Palme d'Or, we'll realize that part of the audience will not have understood our choice, whereas others in the audience will think we were perfectly right. There's no justice in that. We're not talking about sport, although it can be taken as a kind of sport. When you've got an athlete that jumps 2 meters 35, for example, and a competitor that jumps 2 meters 36, then it's objective. It's an objective sport, and there's no talk of doping here either. Whereas in film, it's fundamentally subjective. It's a world that is made up of impressions. There are 9 members of the jury. If you were to change half of the members of the jury, you'd have a different Palme d'Or. You'll have a different winner every time.
Справедливости здесь нет, здесь есть просто победитель.
I've no idea. I'll find out at the end of the festival, but I can't say now what it's going to be like. I think a good Palme d'Or is a film that carries you away.
Palme d'Or for me, it's like lighthouse, and it's set premise of cinemas.
You know, I think ultimately it's a Palme d'Or that is the strongest is one that you will look at in 20 years and say, yes, they were right. And only time will tell, right? Only time will tell which movies endure. Critics don't tell that. Even audiences at a certain moment, in the moment that the film is released, don't tell whether the film will endure You know, only time, the test of time, will say whether a film has import in its moment of release, but also 10, 20, 50 years later. And so it would be great to be able to come across a film that stands the test of time. I think that's the mark of distinction.